Clinton predicted a landslide victory for Mitt Romney. A landslide. Well, we all know how that turned out. Dick Morris, how are you?
Oh, I'm a little battered and bleeding, but...
Well, look, before we go any further, let's watch a bit of the moment you never want to relive. This is one of your great predictions.
Going to win by a landslide. It will be the biggest surprise in recent American political history. It will rekindle a whole question as to why the media played this race as a nail-biter, where in fact I think Romney is going to win by quite a bit. My own view is that Romney is going to carry 325 electoral votes.
I mean, look, to be honest with you, I feel painful listening to that. God knows how you feel. I mean, with hindsight, were you bluffing? Did you believe this? Or is there any rational explanation for why you got it so wrong?
Oh, I absolutely believed it, and so did a lot of people. Rasmussen and Gallup both predicted a Romney victory. And Piers, CNN had a 47-47 tie race in its final poll 48 hours before the polls opened.
Well, when you look at that guy, Nate Silver, all he did was crunch the numbers, right? And he got it bang on from start to finish.
Well,
how can a pundit who is as experienced as you, with great respect, be so wrong when this guy just sits on his computer, crunching numbers and data, and gets it completely right?
Well, Theodore LaGuardia, when he was mayor of New York, said, I don't make many mistakes, but when I make them, it's a beaut. And this one was a beaut. And over my life, Piers, in 1995, I predicted Clinton would win, and I brought him back. Nobody else said he could. 2000, I said Bush was going to win. 04, I said Bush was going to win. 06, I said the Republicans are going to lose both houses. 08, I predicted an Obama win.
Now, you're making this sound like you're being one of the world's great pundits, Steve.
And in 2010...
But I have a little...
And in 2010, I was the only person that said the Republicans would pick up 60 to 80 seats in the House.
Dick, as you know, you've also dropped some other clangers, and we have a little roll call here. Let's watch this.
I believe the Republicans will win 60 to 80 seats in the House, and I personally believe it could go higher. I think they're going to definitely win 9 seats in the Senate, and there are 2 that may fall, giving us the majority. There's going to be a government shutdown, just like in 95 and 96. But we're going to win it this time. Ohio is overrated. He can win and will win. Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and a very good shot in Minnesota. That's a little iffy. And he'll never even have to think twice about Ohio, but he's going to win Ohio. So you're going to sue me? I said that he was going to win 60 to 80 seats in the House. We did. Nobody else said that. And I said we're going to win 9 seats.
Well, the Republicans picked up
and
63 seats.
68. And I said that we were going to win 9 seats in the Senate. The Republicans won 6, and 3 of the losses were by less than a point. So come on. Look, the basic
But you know as well as I do, here's the point, I suppose, here's the overview. You know as well as I do that you got let go by Fox yesterday. Huge blaze of attention to this. And it must have been humiliating for you because people have latched on this and they've been playing all this stuff and they've been trying to make out you are, as this particular Business Insider poll noted, someone had described you as the worst pundit of 2012.
No,
you know this, and you know that people are laughing at you, mocking you, and so on. How does that make you feel, given you've been so respected for so long until this period?
I have gotten 30 senators and governors elected, 14 presidents and prime ministers, the president of the United States twice, and 1.5. I worked with others in the first go-round. So I'm okay on that score. But the real issue is, why did Romney lose? Well, the immediate answer is the storm. And in fact, I wrote a column I was just showing you 4 days before Election Day, entitled, In the Last Few Hours...
You mean Hurricane Sandy?
Yeah. In the last few hours, sudden danger signs in polling, saying that Obama could be coming back because of the storm. The fact of the matter is that before Hurricane Sandy started, Obama was trailing Mitt Romney in Gallup, in Rasmussen, and virtually all of the major polling, because he had lost the first debate, not recovered it in the second, and gotten a little bit better in the third. And nobody could tell the impact of Sandy. 15% of the voters made up their minds in the last 72 hours. And they cited Sandy as number 1.
But it wasn't just Sandy, because when the numbers finally came in for Obama, he just cleaned Romney's clock. I mean, he did. And unfortunately for you guys, it was a really bad beating in the end. It wasn't even close. It wasn't the nail biter. It wasn't a surprise. Obama ran in the end of clearly a much better campaign. And you can't just honestly blame a storm and say that swung it completely to Obama. Obama was going to win without the storm.
Well, I prefer to believe that CNN's polling was accurate, wouldn't you?
Well, I think all the polls should be taken with a large pinch of salt.
I think that...
I really do, and I think that Nate Silver actually was the guy.
Yeah, but he doesn't work for CNN.
He doesn't, but we had him on this show 3 or 4 times in that period. And Nate Silver kept looking me in the eye and saying, all the pundits are wrong, all the polls are misleading, Obama's going to win this easily. And he was doing it from pure number crunching.
The question really is why Obama won by such a margin. And I think the answer is that there has been a fundamental demographic shift in the United States. And I thought that it had surfaced in 08 because of a charismatic candidate. Then I thought it would go back down again, and it did in 10. They didn't show up. But in 12, they showed up again in huge numbers, and 8 million whites stayed home. And I think the Republican Party has got to change in fundamental ways. Otherwise, it will never win another election.
Okay, I agree with you, and I think many people agree with that, but you got turfed out of Fox yesterday, which people are interpreting, along with Sarah Palin being turfed out, as a repudiation of that style of Republican front person, if you like. What do you say to that? Was that why Fox let you go?
No, Fox.
And what does that mean for the party and your involvement with it at all? I mean, some will say, we don't care what Dick Morris has to say. He's irrelevant now.
Well, Fox, the last guy who was called irrelevant was Bill Clinton in '95. The point is that these changes are fundamental, and we need to recognize them and adjust to them. That does not mean we back off from our core principles. Now that the taxes have been raised on rich people, you got a simple fight with Obama. More spending against less, more debt against less, and the Republicans can win that fight. But they've got to stop victimizing Latinos and women. Start with the Latinos. They're a Republican voter base. That group is going to vote like all the other immigrant groups do. As they move up, they'll become more Republican. And I know because I ran the last 2 successful presidential campaigns in Mexico. And in both of them, the conservative, Fox and Calderon, won. And they are pro-family, anti-debt, and incredibly worried about illegitimacy and crime and all that. But they feel that the Republican Party hates them. And the Rubio bill has got to pass for the Republicans ever to access that vote.
What people are asking is why are Fox not interested now in your views on where the Republican Party should go?
I don't know what Fox is interested in or not.
But they also told you, didn't they?
Well, I had a wonderful talk with Roger Ailes, who I really respect, a week ago. And he said, in this business, you're up, you're down, nothing is final or fatal.
But why are you down now as far as that?
Because I was wrong, and I was wrong at the top of my lungs. The other part of this is women. But we have to get rid...
Hang on, that's just... People are interested in this, you know that. They fired you because you were wrong, but a lot of people on Fox were calling it wrong. Why you? Why have you been singled out?
I know. Why don't you invite them and ask?
But do you know the answer?
No, I don't. I think that I was wrong at the top of my lungs. Maybe I'm being made a poster child for that. But
do you resent the decision?
Look, Fox has given me the opportunity of a lifetime. 15 years, 3,000 interviews. And at some point, the great marriage has to come to an end. Now, we're not divorced
It's
yet.
got to annoy you that Karl Rove gets to stay there, doesn't it?
Piers,
he was a guy saying that the election result on the night was wrong. They had to stand up. Megyn Kelly had to start running down the corridor.
The divorce isn't final, but I am seeing other people.
And I'm very grateful you are. What's interesting about Fox News is that their ratings have really plummeted since the election, really quite dramatically. Down 22% of the key demo in January, the lowest demo number since July 2008. And in prime time, down 40% in the demo, its lowest demo number since May 2006. It seems from the outside, and they would do this to us, that Fox have got some real problems right now. Well, and one of the reasons is that they just called this election so badly wrong, and they may have driven the party and Mitt Romney down the wrong alley.
Well, apart from whether you blame Fox or not, I'm not going to get into that. But I believe that the Republicans were horribly hurt among women by the crazy extremists who said that rape won't make you pregnant and it's an act of God. I think, on the other hand, the Democrats are hurt by those who say third trimester abortions are fine. We have to understand what Bill Clinton said. Abortion should be rare. And we have to understand that we're not going to be overturned by the court. Roe's not going anyplace while Obama's president. So Republicans should say, let's all work together on steps to reduce the number of abortions, because none of us think it's good.
But the party should still...
Let me just finish it.
Yeah, but it's a very interesting point you're making.
Consent.
Should the party stand then for a woman's right to choose whilst trying to keep the numbers low? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that they're not going to do that, and that's their opinion, and it's a deeply held belief.
Where does the party stand? What's the Republican position then?
Pro-life. But I am saying...
And yet you're not talking about abolishing it. You're talking about keeping abortion at a lower level. That's not pro-life, is it?
Let me talk about what I'm talking about. When Bill Clinton took office, there were 1,400,000 abortions. Now there are 700,000.
Right.
Because of adoption procedures, counseling, birth control,
I get that, but your position...
parental notification, consent...
I'm trying to work out what your position is, Dick.
That the Republican Party needs to move from making abortion illegal to making it rare.
Right. You see, when you say turning it from illegal to rare, what you're moving from is pro-life to pro-choice in the debate. And you know that. You can't be... You're either or. You either believe it should be illegal or you believe it shouldn't. And if you don't, you move your position as a party.
I believe that as a practical matter with the Republican Party, if they focus on overturning Roe, they're whistling in the wind, and they know that.
Right, but as a party's position... And they've got to be very clear about this so that the women that you're talking about who feel disenfranchised by the party know exactly what they stand for. What you're saying is they need to move from pro-life to pro-choice, albeit trying to reduce the numbers.
Yeah.
Am I right?
No, you're not.
Explain to me why I'm wrong.
I much prefer my own words coming out of my mouth.
Well, but explain to me why I'm wrong.
Because the issue is that it is not a theoretical debate as to whether Roe will ever be overturned. That we've had 40 years of Republicans dominating the court, and it hasn't been. This is a theoretical issue that should not be allowed to determine an election. Americans can come together, eschewing the extremes on this issue and focusing in a workmanlike, practical way at reducing the incidence of abortion. You know, the teen pregnancy is down by 42%. Abortion is cut in half. Those are positive steps because of policies that Clinton and Bush put into effect about notification and counseling and all of that.
Would you support gay marriage? Should the party embrace it now, given that so many states are moving that way?
My view on gay marriage is that if a state decides to go for gay marriage, the legislature or the voters, that's great. That's up to them. I've got no problem with it.
What's your personal
view? I don't believe that the court should jam it down anybody's throat.
What's your view?
That if people want it, they should be able to do it, but that it's got to be a decision of the community.
You see, when I hear you speak, it's interesting to me because I hear you speak and I hear you basically saying, look, with abortion, we need to move from, pro-life, as people call it, although I don't like that phrase. I don't think it's neither or in that sense. Pro-life to an acceptance that it's going to exist, but try to reduce the numbers. Gay marriage, going from an anti-gay marriage position to, yes, we should accept this, and it should be state decision.
When the people approve it.
Right. You see, the Republican Party's got to make its mind up as a party.
Yeah.
It can't have endless people on both sides ripping each other's position apart, so that people standing back when it comes to an election go, well, what do they actually stand for?
Well, what we do stand for, Republicans do stand for, and it's becoming very clear, and we need to be much stronger on this, is holding down spending and debt. John Boehner has to be seen in a new light. He is no longer the leader of the Republicans in the House. He's a kind of coalition speaker, a little bit like Ramsay MacDonald, the former Prime Minister of Britain, who, after the Labour members all ran out on him, stayed in office, buoyed up by the Conservatives. Boehner now speaks for all of the Democrats and a handful of Republicans. And the regular Republicans vote against his position, and he's okay with it, and they're okay with it because they can go back at home and say, I opposed higher taxes.
Should Boehner should he be replaced?
Well, I think a fight of that sort now would be destructive. But I believe that Boehner and the Republicans need to reclaim their fundamental legacy, which is if there was ever a time when we can understand that big spending and borrowing and ratifying it by higher taxes is going to destroy the American economy just like it's destroyed the economies of Japan and Europe. And we have to rally behind that. And what is stopping that is that Latinos and women feel they can't join the Republican Party, even though they agree with it, because it's excluding.
Final question. I want a one-word or two-word answer. Who would you most like to see leading the party into the next election? So it can be a surname, a
Scott
first
Walker.
name. Scott Walker? Interesting call. Dean Morris, good to
Thank
see
you.
you. You can always come back here at CNN. We're not going to ban you or fire you. Good to see you.